Good morning! My name is Maddie Frazonki, and I am a senior at Harding Charter Preparatory High School. Over the past 4 years, I have taken 13 AP classes, maintained a weighted GPA of 4.52, and as a result, will be attending Cornell University in the fall. I've tutored students in math for the past 2 years and have participated in speech and debate for the past 4 years. None of this would have been possible without my teachers. Teachers are the epitome of selflessness. On a weekend with a speech and debate tournament, my teachers easily put in an extra 20 hours. A common tournament consists of leaving after a full day of school on Friday afternoon. We're driven by teachers because our school cannot afford a bus. Students compete for the next 8 hours. We head home at 11 p.m. Saturday morning starts at 6:40 a.m. and 12 plus hours later, we head home. At least 11 weekends a year, my teachers happily do this. If you think that's not impressive, my teacher, Mrs. Boomer, went so far as to buy me clothing to compete in. When I left mine at home, she did this without hesitation because she believed in her students' ability to succeed. Mrs. Boomer's act of generosity is not the exception, but the norm. Woo! Oklahoma is sending a message to its teachers and the world by not funding education spending. The message rings loud and clear. Oklahoma doesn't think the extreme hours teachers work or the enormous amount of personal spending on school supplies is enough. Oklahoma doesn't think the hours beyond the school day teachers commit to grading papers, preparing curricula, or even the amount of time spent with us is worth funding. This is not the time for the Oklahoma State Legislature and Oklahomans to back away from proper funding, but to step forward for our future. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Cameron Olbert, and I am a sophomore at the class in School of Advanced Studies. Now, before I get started today, I just want to reassure every single teacher listening to me here today that we, the students of Oklahoma, are with you for as long as this strike takes. You have taken out second and even third jobs so you could stay in our classrooms. You have endured years of wage stagnation, and you have paid hundreds of your own dollars for classroom supplies. You've had our backs for decades, and so we're here to say, we've got yours. Now, to every student who's listening to me here today, you cannot and you will not make the change you want to make here today if you just go talk to one or two legislators and go home after one day. I need you to talk to every legislator you can possibly find, and I need you to tell them that we demand equity in the way our government is run. We're not just here for teacher pay raises. We're here for support staff. We're here for arts and music programs that have been decimated over the past decade. We're here for chairs that don't break when we sit in them. We're here for luxuries and opportunities that other states get to take for granted. Go into that building in a few minutes and tell your legislators that we demand equity. We will not balance our budget on the backs of the poor and working class who have already more than paid enough into the system. It's time to ask those who can best afford it to pay their fair share too. That means we stop starving public education just so we can feed big oil. It means we reform our income tax system. It means that we eliminate useless deductions that only benefit the rich and do nothing for people like us. Governor Fallon thinks that our teachers are here today because they're like teenagers who want a better car. I say our teachers are here because they're dedicated professionals who demand fairness. Our teachers are here because they don't want to have to sell their blood just to make ends meet. Teachers don't want to have to go to food banks just to feed their families. And let me conclude by saying to any legislator who wants to stand in our way today or any day, we may not be in class taking notes today, but that's because we're at the Capitol and we're taking names. And when the students of Oklahoma go to vote in just a couple short years, we're going to remember yours.
Sorry to cut in real quick, folks, but I've just been notified by the state troopers that it is now 10:05 and the 5th, 4th, and 3rd floors are already closed. We are packing it up tight. So if you're still trying to get in, be patient. The lines are really long, but let's go ahead and fill it all the way up.
My name is Landon Brumley. I'm a 6th grader at Newcastle Middle School. I have been in the Oklahoma public school system all of my life. I'm up here today to show our state government that our schools need help. My first hour class in my school has over 30 kids in it. That is a big number of kids in a classroom. With one teacher, sometimes it is hard to hear in that class. Sometimes there's a shortage of laptops that work in my class because this is a technology class. We must have computers. The laptops we use are 5 years old, and half of the time they don't work. The teachers that teach this class teaches 4 subjects throughout the day. She does this because she has to and because she is passionate about what she has. She has 6 classes throughout the day total. In my math class, our textbooks are so old, I'm not sure on the exact number, but the textbooks are 10 plus years old. They are held together by duct tape because we cannot get new ones. Some have no covers, some are missing multiple pages and are written in all over. Some of the pages fall out of the covers. These books are hard to learn out of because they are destroyed. All the teachers I have are great and inspiring. They help us and make learning easier. The reason they stay in is for me and my classmates. We need to give them another reason to stay. My teachers need funding. My teachers need raises. But most of all, they need a government that helps them teach and cares about them so that we can learn. Thank you all for your time. Now let's show these people what kids can really do.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Curtis, and I'm a senior at Edmond Memorial High School. I'm an AP student. I am currently taking 6 AP classes, and I have to say that although the workload might be large, I am grateful that I have the opportunity to challenge myself in order to better my education. In order for me and many others to take AP classes, we must have AP teachers who are qualified and passionate about the subjects they teach. My teachers have accepted the additional essays, early morning study sessions, and mock exams that AP classes practically require. My teachers do this out of the kindness of their hearts to ensure that we might pass our exams. Another reason why I hold my teachers to such a high regard. But if our legislature continues to prevent my teachers from receiving a worthy raise in order to remove our title as having one of the lowest average teacher wages in the nation, I ask them to stop grading those extra essays, to sleep in instead of holding such study sections, and to burn those dreaded mock exams to the ashes. Many of our books are years, often decades old, a burden that both regular and AP classes share. My teachers, such as Mrs. Custard, have to buy up-to-date books with their own money in order to ensure that we have the same quality of education as other states. My teachers' kind hearts won't always be able to pay for our new books. Our government shouldn't force us to depend on our teachers' income to buy basic necessities for school. I mean, their job is to give us funding. In the near future, if nothing is done and funding for schools is continuously cut and our teachers' salaries continue to shrink, AP teachers won't have the morale to carry on with all the extra work. Oklahoma's average AP scores will plummet, and our government will likely blame our teachers and remove AP classes from our schools, stunting opportunity for all students. AP will again be in jeopardy, just like it was in 2015. But this fate can be avoided. Many Oklahoma students will be able to vote in November. Many of you will help decide whether or not to keep Oklahoma legislators with oil money stuffed in their pockets, clouding their minds from public interest, in office. To my fellow students, I strongly encourage you to register to vote. For you, your parents, and our amazing teachers can and will vote them out.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Schaefer, and I'm a junior at Carl Albert High School. While I was here on Monday, I read a sign that said, "I am no longer accepting things I cannot change. I am changing things I cannot accept." And isn't that why we're all here? As Oklahomans, we've sat back and let legislators cut our funding more and more each year, but the time is now. The time is now to fight for up-to-date textbooks. The time is now for band students to stop having to sell candy bars to buy sheet music. The time is now to fix our leaky sinks and burnt-out light bulbs. The time is now to demand the funding to provide a quality education to the future of Oklahoma. As a high school student, it is all too real to me how far Oklahoma is behind the rest of the nation. We're taking nationwide exams and doing our best to be nationally or even regionally competitive as we apply for colleges. If you're not familiar with AP classes, there are classes available to high school students that are taught at a college level. At the end of the year, the College Board, a national organization, creates an exam that students nationwide take, and those who pass the exam receive college credit. The problem in Oklahoma, however, is that many schools do not have the funding to offer AP classes, and at schools like mine, the textbooks in my class are 11 years old and counting. Every person in my AP Human Geography class has bought their own study material because our books are no longer matching the testing guidelines, and there are no funds to buy new books. My teacher, Ms. Pollack, has spent hours and hours researching online information in an attempt to provide us with up-to-date testing material because she desperately wants us to succeed. The question now is, why don't Oklahoma legislators want us to succeed? The students in these underfunded classrooms are future doctors, nurses, musicians, authors, accountants, scientists, armed servicemen, small business owners, teachers, lawmakers, and voters. To the teachers who are dedicated to shaping the future, even when legislators are not, we stand by you arm in arm in this fight, because this is about more than a pay raise. It's about raising up the future of Oklahoma, and it starts in the classroom.
It has been said that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. I know that. My fellow students know that. My teachers know that. My superintendent even knows that. It's time that our Oklahoma legislators know that. My name is Alexis Broderick, and I am a senior at Midwest City High School. I am here too because I want to change the world. I want to change the world to make it better for my 12-year-old sister. She will be following my footsteps through public education in Oklahoma. I want her to not only have access to classes like drama and AP Calculus, but I also want her to have her own book so she'll be able to take one home to do homework. I want her to sit in a desk that does not rip her jeans because of the sharp edges left from it being broken years ago. I want her to walk through hallways free of black mold. Is that really asking too much? I want to change her world. I want to change the world for our teachers. My teachers that are here in the front row. I want them to go home at night and not to their second or even third jobs. And yes, I know they got a raise, and I'm so happy for them, but that is still not what they are worth. These are teachers who practice lockdown drills with us. They write us recommendation letters for college. They laugh with us and try to learn the newest slang to be relevant. They hold us as we cry over the loss of a classmate. I want to change their world. I want to change the world as a whole. I want to live in a world where gun violence, racism, and cancer are eradicated. I want to live in a world where I'm not preparing for a mass shooting in every public place. I want to live in a world where the people's voice is the voice of the nation. I want to change our world. The only way to change this world for anyone is through education. I am 18, and I understand, just as Oliver Wendell Holmes said, taxes are what we pay for a civilized society. So I am urging the legislators of Oklahoma to listen to us, the students and future voters, and do the right thing and fund our future. Let's change our world.
Hi, I'm Ella Brinkman. I'm a junior at Edmond Memorial. Today, I stand here to fight for not only myself and for our teachers, but for my little sister. Paisley is 2, and she's turning 3 in July. She'll start school in a few years, and a little bit after that, she'll be in high school. As excited as I am for her to go to Edmond Memorial, as excited as I am for her to go through our philanthropy week, as excited as I am for us to be able to talk about our shared experiences, I'm terrified. If nothing changes soon, I don't know what her education will look like, from high school all the way down to elementary school. My own teachers have talked about leaving Oklahoma, and these teachers are easily some of the best at Memorial and even in Oklahoma. I want my little sister to have all of these experiences I've had, including but not limited to orchestra with David Kane, yearbook and student council with Elena Kalaki, AP biology with Amy Wilhoit, AP English language with Kevin McDonald, AP US history with Christine Custard, AP calculus with Melanie Cohen. I want Paisley to have the best education possible, but if nothing happens, the best education possible won't even be close to the education that I've had. To our legislature, I'm disappointed and angry. How many of you have young kids? Aren't you terrified that they won't receive as good of an education as you did? Don't you want to give them an even better education than you had? You have the power to do something about this. You have the power to encourage teachers to stay in and come to Oklahoma. Did you know that we have 1,000 teachers graduating from colleges in Oklahoma, and Edmond alone needs 340 of those? That's more than a third. We aren't even the largest school district. It isn't enough to keep teachers here. We need to encourage other teachers to Oklahoma. You have the power to do something about this. We students aren't here because we don't want school. We aren't supporting our teachers because it's fun. Most of us wish we were in school right now. We're taking AP classes, and our AP tests are in May, and those dates aren't changing. We don't want to go to school until June, but we will if that's what we have to do to fix this. We aren't going back to school until you fix this. Our education is important. Our teachers are important. We are important.
Hi guys, my name's Natalie Hurt and I'm from Midwest City High School. I support the walkout because I am a product of teachers. I'm a teacher's daughter and all my grandparents were teachers. I've been involved in the Oklahoma education system since before I even walked into my first day of pre-K. I remember riding my bikes down the halls of my now high school with my sisters. With that being said, this is an issue I hold very close to my heart. It upsets me to see students who view this issue as something that is not their problem. I hate hearing the walkout referred to as a second spring break. We aren't here because we want to be here. We are here because we have to be here. Our teachers didn't plan this walkout because they felt like it'd be fun. Oh man, where am I? They did it because they are scared of what the future of Oklahoma education is going to look like, and so am I. So excuse me if I get a little upset when someone tells me my mother is acting childish for walking out on her students. I apologize if I have to bite my tongue when my AP government teacher gets called greedy for what she's doing. They are not doing this solely because they are upset about their pay. They are doing this because us students deserve better. Teachers did not go into this career path planning to get rich. They also didn't go into teaching planning on buying all the paper their students need. They didn't pursue a career in education, hoping they'd have to watch their class of 24 students try and share 10 textbooks. How is this acceptable? How is it acceptable that 1 year our schools spent special ed department didn't have enough funding, so my mom's got another school's program handed to her. How is it that she's getting called greedy because she wants all of her students to receive a proper education? The support of this walkout by us students is essential. We have to let those who aren't understanding the issue realize what all we've gone through. Raise your hand if you've ever had a revolving door of subs because your teacher got a better job and left. Raise your hand if you don't know what it's like to have a textbook that doesn't look like the dog already ate it. Raise your hand if since this walkout you don't even know what's considered normal for a school to have or what we missed out on due to our lack of funding. This walkout is for us. Our teachers are just leading it. I'd like to give a message to my upperclassmen. I know many of you have thought or heard someone say, well, this funding's not going to affect me, so why should I care? This walkout is for every single younger sibling out there that still has a chance for something better. This walkout is for the team of 13 4-year-olds I coach on Tuesday, who I pray all get to take home their own textbooks one day. This walkout is for one day, whenever we grow up and we have kids, we don't have to look our significant other in the eyes and say, Oklahoma isn't going to give my child a fully funded education. Can we move to Texas? So when I get asked why I care so much about this walkout, I'll say it's because I watched my mother be the best teacher for 15 years of my life, and she deserves more. When I get asked why I support the walkout, I'll tell you it's because I know Oklahoma's education and Oklahoma's future are worth more than this. I know we deserve better, and we won't give in until we get it. I support the walkout because Oklahoma's future is something worth funding. Thank you.
Hey guys. My name is Jill Overstreet. I am from Bethany High School. I would like to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to the people that taught me how to read and write and read and how to hold a conversation. Thank you to the people who stay up at night worrying if they're going to have enough tissues to last them throughout the week. Thank you to the teachers that invest in my life simply because they want to. Thank you to my history teacher for empowering me and my chemistry teacher for always lifting me up. Growing up in an Oklahoma school, I thought ripped textbooks and bringing supplies for extra credit was normal. I thought being in a classroom with 30 other kids was normal. I heard budget cuts on the daily, and suddenly my softball locker room had no working air. It wasn't until later in high school I realized the struggles teachers face. The struggles to buy their kids shoes or pay for gas to their second job. The struggle of paying for new art supplies because the football field had to be renovated. The struggle to maintain the love they have for their job while trying to maintain their bills from paycheck to paycheck. We cannot settle for this. These people are raising the next generation and the next and the next. How are us kids supposed to be successful if we are being shoved into the cafeteria for the day because the school cannot afford a substitute? This is not about getting days off or having another break. Us students are here to fight with the teachers to get what they deserve. History has its eyes on us. Thank you.
What up? I'm Alex Andrews from Edmond Memorial High School. I'm a junior. 5 months, 4 days. In this increment of time, I will be armed with the greatest weapon you can give a citizen in this country. And this time, I will be able to change the flow of history. And boy, do I plan on it. I've come to realize the complete audacity of which this democracy portrays. The people of the offices of this building behind me would rather listen to the silence of others than listen to the voices of the ignored, which are right outside their door. We've known how little these voices of the people really listen to the people. And in 5 months and 4 days, there will be one more vote against these people. One more vote for education. One more vote for equal opportunity. One more vote against them. I speak and stand for the people that have showed me love and support in the lowest times of my life. I speak and stand for those who time and time again have told us that we are the future, and I intend on proving them right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ravi Patel, and I'm currently a senior at Southmore High School. You all could literally be doing anything right now, but just by showing up here today, we as the students of Oklahoma have proven a point. We've proven that despite being teenagers, we will no longer sit idly by as our teachers are persecuted for fighting for an equitable education. We've proven that we will not watch as our state's education system continues to degrade on a perpetual downfall. And most importantly, we have proven that we will no longer stand with the perpetrators of this injustice. In a perfect world, no group of teenagers stressed about where they will go to college, worried about what lies ahead, and anxious about the future should have to organize a movement just to acquire adequate funding for education. In a perfect world, no teacher should have to fight day in and day out for an adequate salary to protect their own children and their students within the classroom. But sadly, our legislature has forced us to do so. See, education for centuries has been this steadfast and intrinsic pillar in the progress of our nation. Throughout our nation's history, education has been a means not only for social progressivity, but at the same time for social mobility as well. I mean, even Jefferson noted the influence of an educated electorate in public education on the preservation of our nation's freedom, and that was more than 200 years ago. And 200 years later, the state of Oklahoma has not only failed to bring Jefferson's dream to fruition, but it's failed to upkeep the very promise they made to the citizens of Oklahoma. Because this fight isn't only about us now. This fight and this movement is for our younger siblings. It's for our friends and family who will continue to depend on the well-being of our public education system. See, more than 2 decades ago, my parents had to make sacrifices. They had to give up some of their most valued possessions to come to the United States. They threw away opportunities for themselves and in the most selfless manner immigrated to this foreign land. But what they desired more than anything else was for me and my younger brother to attain an exemplary education. And numerous families of immigrant descent must endure this hardship, all to fulfill this dream of a tranquil education for their children. Yet when looking at this current state of our education system, to put it quite bluntly, our education is equivalent, if not worse, than a developing nation. The lack of textbooks and resources, the overcrowding of classrooms to completely eradicate the idea of a personal education, and the cutting of our beloved extracurricular activities have stripped the very heart out of Oklahoma's education system. Just yesterday, Representative McDougal, I believe, from District 12, questioned the example. He had the audacity to question the example that teachers were setting for us. And I've never been more astonished. Our teachers are setting an example of bravery by standing up to ignorance and inaction. Our teachers are setting an example of engagement and activism, similar to what our forefathers did years ago. And our teachers are setting a better example than our legislators have for the past decade and the past few days. What's beyond my grasp of comprehension is this coherent inconsistency within our society. In the state of Oklahoma, representatives make $38,000 a year. The median salary for a public school teacher is about $42,000. It sounds about equal until you realize that state representatives only work 65 days a year while teachers must work 180. Representatives make $584 per day, even when they don't get anything done like yesterday. While teachers make $233. So don't let them tell you that funds don't exist. They're sitting right on them. Those sitting on Oklahoma's Capitol Hill shouldn't be building themselves a hill of capital. We need to stop putting profits above pupils. We need to stop putting budgets above our best and brightest. And most importantly, we need to stop putting funds above our future. we need to start bubbling in solutions rather than erasing them. And our legislators' fiscal responsibility does not outweigh our moral responsibility to invest in our future. But what rarely ever gets attention are communities of low socioeconomic statuses. The communities that bear the worst end of this injustice are communities of color and communities of immigrants. The lack of funding for these schools are needed more desperately than ever before. Because the lack of funding creates a vicious cycle of poverty for these schools, a cycle in which minority families go to underfunded schools, receive exponentially worse schooling, and return to their hyper-segregated communities, which perpetuates transgenerational gridlock. These schools deserve our attention as well, and they can't be forgotten along the way. The truth is, we are no longer able to compete with other schools in neighboring states. We have dropped to 47th out of 50. We've cut funding per students by 23.8%, and our teachers' average take-home salary has shrunk by 11%. But if there's one thing that is ubiquitously unique to Oklahoma, it's our ability to keep fighting without hinting at ever giving up. From damaging tornadoes to multitudes of setbacks, our resiliency as Oklahomans permeates and transcends all obstacles. From this day onwards, legislators will fear us, #wielding teenagers, more than they do oil and gas companies. From this day onwards, we will fight with all our might through a united front to ensure that our siblings get the education they deserve. And from this day onwards, we will vote in individuals like Cindy Ralston and vote out incompetent individuals like Bobby Cleveland and Representative McDougal. Teachers serve a role unlike any other in our society. They're the glue that holds communities together. They are the ever-guiding beacon of light that we look towards for hope and inspiration. But most importantly, teachers are true heroes. We've been to the mountaintop and back. We've trekked across the bridge in Selma. Some of us consistently brag about our military power, and we're on the verge of creating the first self-driving car. We've done so much and continue to do so much, so you can't tell a skinny Indian boy from Moore, Oklahoma, that we don't have enough money to better your educational resources, because I just won't believe it. Our teachers have suffered enough. We've suffered enough. And today we all stand in defiance. Because after all the hard work that our teachers consistently put in and day out, today it's time for us students to give back. Thank you.
Another quick little update. I just spoke with the state troopers, and for the second day in a row, the building is now shut down. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth floors are all full. Now, because of this, we are actually over capacity in the building. If you are in line to get in, you're just going to have to be patient. As big groups come out, they're going to start letting more groups come in, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So just bear with us and try to be as patient as possible.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah Tuttle and I'm a senior at Edmond Memorial High School. I'm here to speak out about the despicable education funding that this state is giving us. At the beginning of the week, we were told that we should be thanking our legislators. Well, if they've been thanking our teachers, I get to see firsthand what secondhand funding does to our schools. I get to see 30 to 40 kids being crammed into classes that are supposed to fit 20. I see books that I used to study fall apart when I lift them up. I can see my mom, a speech pathologist in Edmond Public Schools, buy her own supplies because there's not enough at her schools. Just yesterday I came home and she used her money to buy a $150 program so that kids with special needs can talk to each other. My education has shaped me into the person who I am today. School means so much more to me than just sitting in a broken desk and some grades. Not just anyone can impact a life like a teacher can. We should be wholeheartedly supporting teachers in this state. The emergency certification rate of teachers is going up, and the amount of students becoming educators is going down.
This is due to our state continuously putting education last, making potential teachers scared to work in Oklahoma. In exactly 26 days, I will be turning 18 years old. 6 months ago, I had already filled out my voter registration. It's in an envelope, stamped, and ready to be mailed. It's sitting on my kitchen counter. We cannot be afraid to vote them out. If they do not care enough to fund our education, we vote them out. We are students. This is our future. We cannot leave it in the hands of people who want to thank them for doing the bare minimum to improve it. You want me to be thankful, Governor Fallon? I am thankful. I'm thankful for Christine Custrid, Greg Oppel, Brooke Bullock, my AP teachers who work constantly and out of their contracts to help us prepare for our AP exams. I'm thankful for David Kane, my orchestra director, who goes above and beyond to love and take care of his students. I'm thankful for Jeff Lovett, my AP economics teacher who inspired in me a love of economics that I never would have had without him. I'm thankful for support staff like Edmond Memorial's gate guard, Craig, who remembers every single student's car and what they look like and calls them by name. So yes, Fallon, I am thankful, but certainly not for you. Vote them out! 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 Thank you so much!
Another quick little announcement here. Mounds Public Schools, you're going to need to go ahead and move your bus. You're blocking traffic. So if anybody can go grab the Mounds school bus and get that out of the way real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I speak, I would like to thank you for your time and willingness to listen to what I have to say. Before you hear me out, I would like you to know a little bit about me. I am Grace Fox, a 16-year-old junior attending Edmond Memorial High School. I am a committed AP student, a proud holder of a plus 4.0 GPA, an extracurricular enthusiast, an all-state violist, and overall a teenager who is deeply involved within my community of Edmond, Oklahoma, and fully recognize that a change needs to be made in regards to Oklahoma's education system. In my personal experience with Edmond Public Schools, I have been exposed to numerous certified teachers who have made an incredible impact on my life, altering the course of my life along the way. These educators do not only teach the required curriculum, but go above and beyond to teach life lessons that change their students' outlook on life. Within my AP chemistry class, taught by TJ Dortch, I have learned how to mentally push myself to the limit as well as overcome challenges I previously deemed impossible. Within my AP language and composition class, taught by Reagan Kalaki, I have acquired the knowledge of how to pause, observe my surroundings, and find the nuances within every argument as I am doing here today. Within my AP US history class, taught by Christine Custrid, I have learned that history always repeats itself. In one way or another, which can be seen in the courage of students and teachers who rally here today for change. And most of all, within my orchestra class taught by David Kane, I have learned what it feels like to have someone believe in me more than I believe in myself. of my education, I am lucky enough to stand here and present this beautiful composition to you, fellow students. Because I attend Edmond Public Schools, I have not been catastrophically struck by the horrific conditions due to the lack of funding for education. Rural schools and inner city schools, on the other hand, have not been so lucky. In many Oklahoma schools, books are falling apart, desks are cutting the students who sit in them, buildings are not heated or air conditioned, and school supplies are rationed. In many Oklahoma schools, emergency certified teachers fill the positions of qualified and specialized teachers who leave for surrounding states in order to provide for themselves and provide for their families. In many Oklahoma schools, children no longer find any joy in learning as their focus is directed to the cuts on their legs from broken desks, the confused teachers, and the spineless books. This is why I am here. I am here to speak for the voiceless. I am here to speak for the scared. I am here to speak for the angry. And I am here to speak for the frustrated, just like me. And I am here for the students who, like me, crave knowledge but are shackled down by the weights of no funding. To Mary Fallon, Oklahoma legislators, representatives, and lawmakers, I want you to know that this is not a joke. This is not something that will blow over in a couple of days. This is not an ungrateful demand for money. This is not just about a teacher pay raise, though that needs to happen as well. This is about my education, our education, and the future of Oklahoma public education. And we will not stop until you make the change. I fought today, I'll fight tomorrow, and I will fight every day until education becomes a priority. Our teachers deserve better, our support staff deserve better, and most of all, we deserve better. Thank you.
Can we give another round of applause for every student speaker today? So we got our first little bit of trolling on Twitter. They said that we were pesky kids. And if being a pesky kid means that I am pushing for change, then I think I'll be a pesky kid. I don't have anything prepared. Oh, my name's Gabrielle Davis. I don't have anything prepared. I just have a lot of passion and a lot of love for everybody who showed up today to support students, to support the future of Oklahoma, to support common sense, full funding education. My plan for this was after our speeches, we'd go inside the Capitol and find some legislators. But they're really hard to track down. Very interesting eating schedules. They won't be in session until 3. But I don't see us going anywhere. Not now, not when we turn 18, not when it's time to vote. I don't see us going anywhere. So here's what I say we do. We're going to participate in OEA's rallying today. We're going to make our voices heard. We're going to be students who show up here day after day until our teachers are prioritized, our funding is prioritized, our futures are prioritized, and our legislators in there are listening to us. Generation Citizen is here today. If you want to find me, they'll help you learn how to talk to legislators if you want help, because it's time for us to take our futures, our funding, our schooling into our own hands and do something about it if they refuse to. Thank you, guys. Let's not go home. Let's stay here until things are changed and fixed, right?